Alex didn't expect his life to change so much when he signed up for the peace program. Earth and the alien world of Avara had finally agreed to a cultural exchange. Alex, just a young man from a small city, was chosen to live with the aliens and learn their ways. It was supposed to be safe, peaceful, and simple. But the moment he stepped off the shuttle, he knew things wouldn't be that easy. Avara was strange. The buildings were tall and soft-looking, like they were made of living stone. The air smelled sweet, and the sky had two moons. Alex felt like he had stepped into a dream. But he wasn't alone. Waiting at the landing area was a tall alien woman, with greenish-blue skin, glowing yellow eyes, and armor that looked like it had seen 100 battles. She stood straight, arms crossed, watching him without blinking. "This is Sela," the guide said. "Your personal protector." Alex blinked. "Protector? I thought this was a peaceful mission." The guide smiled nervously. "It is. Sela is here, just in case." Alex wasn't sure what that meant, but he didn't argue. Sela didn't speak much that first day. She followed him closely as he settled into the guests' living quarters. Her footsteps were silent, her eyes sharp. She stood outside his room all night, unmoving like a statue. Days passed. Alex tried to learn about the local culture, attending meetings and visiting alien gardens. He asked Sela questions, but she only gave short answers. Yes, no. Not safe. She rarely looked at him directly. One night, Alex couldn't sleep. He stepped outside his room to get some water. He saw Sela standing at the door, just as always. Her eyes followed him. "Do you ever sleep?" he asked. "I do," she said. "But not when you're exposed. Exposed. It's just a hallway." Alex chuckled. Sela didn't laugh. "Danger hides in places you ignore." He nodded slowly. She was serious. Always. But things began to change. It started with a noise. One evening, as Alex was reading on his bed, a loud crack echoed outside. Sela rushed in before Alex could even move. She checked every corner of the room, then turned to him. "Stay inside." "Lock the door?" Her tone was sharp. "What was it?" he asked. "A false alarm." "Maybe," she said, and left quickly. The next morning, there were security drones flying outside. Alex asked the program officer about it, but they only said standard procedure. Alex wasn't convinced. That night, Sela entered the room without warning. She closed the door behind her and placed her weapon beside the bed. Alex looked up, surprised. "No? Everything okay?" "You're safer if I stay inside," she said simply. "The room has only one entrance. Easier to guard." He hesitated. "Sure, if that's what you need to do." She didn't sit far from the door, just on the floor, back straight, eyes alert. But Alex couldn't help noticing. She seemed tired. For the first few nights, she didn't speak. She stayed in full armor, barely moving. But on the fourth night, something changed. She let out a long breath, almost a sigh. Alex sat up. "You all right?" She nodded. "I am not used to being still for so long," smiled. "You've been standing guard every night. You must be exhausted." She glanced at him. "I was trained to endure." "What were you before this job?" he asked. "A strike leader," she answered. Alex raised his eyebrows. "A soldier." She gave a small nod. "Yes. And now you're babysitting a human." Her eyes narrowed, but not in anger. "I protect you because it matters. Peace only happens when both sides survive." He didn't know what to say to that. Her voice was calm but strong, like every word she spoke carried meaning. The days grew quieter, but the nights felt heavier. Alex started hearing noises, soft taps on the walls, flickers in the lights. Sela noticed too. She began checking the room twice before sleeping. Then she moved her sleeping mat closer to Alex's bed, saying nothing. By the seventh night, she slept right beside his bed, still in armor. One hand always near her weapon. Alex whispered, "You think someone's trying to hurt me, don't you?" Sela didn't answer at first. Then she said softly, "There are shadows here. Not all follow orders." He shivered. "Should I be worried?" Not while I'm here, she said. That answer should have scared him. Instead, it made him feel safe. After that, their talks became more personal. Alex told her about Earth, his family, his dog, his favorite food. Sela listened quietly, sometimes asking strange questions. What is a milkshake? Why would you fly just for fun? What is rain that smells good? In return, she told him about her home mountains that glowed under the twin moons, a sky that sang before storms, and her mother's old spear passed down through generations. They weren't just guard and guest anymore. Something gentle was growing. One night, Alex woke up to a soft sound. Sela was speaking in her language. Didn't understand the words, but her voice was softer than he had ever heard it. He closed his eyes and smiled. He didn't say anything the next morning, but he noticed that she now stayed a little closer. Her eyes softened when she looked at him. She brought him a warm drink without being asked, and every time she said, "I'm here to protect you," Alex felt like she was saying something else too. Alex had grown used to having Sela in his room. At first it was strange, waking up and seeing her armored figure sitting quietly, always watching the door. But now, it felt normal. Not just normal, comforting. He still didn't understand everything about her. She spoke little. And even when she did, her voice held something hidden, something unsaid. One morning, Alex woke to find her gone. Panic hit him. He jumped out of bed, checked the hallway, but saw no one. Just as he turned back, the door opened. Sci-Fi, Alex asked, breathless. I fetched morning. Brew, she said calmly, handing him the cup. You scared me, he said, sitting down. I was gone 2 minutes. Too long, he muttered. She tilted her head. I did not mean to cause concern. He looked at her, surprised. Did you just apologize? If I caused discomfort, then yes, she said without blinking. He laughed a little. You're full of surprises. She didn't respond, but the corner of her mouth twitched. Like a smile, almost tried to escape. As the days passed, their routine settled. During the day, Alex attended classes and peace council briefings. At night, he returned to his room, his quiet, strange room, now shared with a protector who had become more than just a guard. Sela no longer stood near the door. Instead, she would sit across from him, listening as he talked about random things. She didn't say much, but when she did, it stayed with him. You think too loudly, she once said. What does that mean? He had asked. Your face speaks before your mouth does. He chuckled. So you can read me? Yes, she said simply. One evening, Alex asked her something that had been on his mind. Why did they choose you for this? You were a leader, right? Yes. I led warriors in the borderlands, so why guard a human guest? She paused before answering. I was given a choice, return to the battlefront or serve in the peace mission. They said guarding a human would be quiet, uneventful. He raised an eyebrow, regretting it. She looked at him for a moment, then shook her head. You are not boring. He smiled. I'll take that as a compliment. But something in her voice felt heavy, like she wasn't telling him everything. The nights started to feel longer. Sela slept lighter. She would often wake at the smallest sound, then check every corner of the room before sitting down again. You've been more restless lately, Alex said. There are patterns, she replied. Movements that don't match daily schedules. Something is watching. Alex frowned. Why wouldn't they tell us? 'Cause trust is easy to say and hard to prove. Her words stuck with him. The Peace Council always said everything was going smoothly. But Sella's instincts told a different story. Then came the night the lights flickered again. Alex was brushing his teeth when the room went dark. Sella stood up instantly, weapon in hand. She tapped her wrist device, but it gave no signal. "Stay. Behind me," she said. The door creaked. Not opened, just creaked. Someone was trying to move it quietly. Sella stood still, eyes fixed on the entrance. Then, without warning, she moved. The door burst open and a shadow rushed in. It was fast, but Sella was faster. She knocked the figure to the ground with a sharp kick, then pinned it with her weapon aimed at its neck. "Identify," she ordered. The attacker hissed something in a language Alex didn't know. Sella pressed a button on her armor. The figure was shocked into silence. She dragged the attacker outside and called security. Within minutes, guards arrived and took the stranger away. When Sella returned, her face was hard. "What was that?" Alex asked. Heart still racing. "Not a thief," she said. "That was a trained infiltrator." "Why would someone try to sneak into my room?" he asked. "Because they were looking for something," Sella replied. "Or someone." Alex felt cold. "You think they were after me?" Sella didn't answer directly. She sat beside him, placing her hand lightly on his shoulder. "You are not just a guest here. Your presence means something. Some want peace. Others do not. Why didn't anyone warn me? Because if you fear, you leave. And if you leave, they win." Alex swallowed hard. He looked at her hand on his shoulder, then up into her eyes. "I'm not leaving," he said. Her expression didn't change, but her voice softened. Good. From that night forward, she stayed even closer. She no longer slept at all during the night, choosing instead to sit awake, alert. Alex offered to switch off, to let her rest while he stayed awake for part of the night. But she refused. "My body can recover faster," she said. "You are not trained." "I'm not useless either," he muttered. Sella raised an eyebrow. "I never said that." He looked at her in surprise. "You think I'm useful?" She nodded. "You ask the right questions. You see things others miss." Alex smiled to himself. He didn't know what was happening between them, but he felt something shift. Later that week, she started removing her armor before sleeping, keeping her weapon close, of course, but letting herself relax slightly. It was the first time Alex saw her without it. Under all the armor and tough attitude, she looked calm, almost gentle. He tried not to stare. One night as they sat together, he asked her quietly, "Do you ever feel alone?" She looked away for a moment. "I did. Once. Not anymore." She turned back to him. "Not with you here." He didn't speak for the rest of the night. But in that silence, something real settled between them. They weren't just protector and guest anymore. They were becoming something more. Alex sat near the window, staring at the twin moons in the sky. His mind wasn't calm. The break-in had shaken him. Not just because someone tried to harm him, but because now he realized how deep the danger really was. He wasn't just a guest. Here he was a target, symbol behind him. Sella was checking her gear again. Every strap, every button, every weapon was being tested and cleaned. It had become her nightly routine after the attack. "You're expecting more trouble, Alex." Said quietly, "I always expect trouble," she replied. "You didn't tell the Peace Council about the intruder." "I did," she said. "They told me not to raise alarm. They said it would damage the mission's image." Alex turned toward her. "So they care more about appearances than safety.
Oh.
They think silence will make it disappear." Her voice held no emotion, just fact. He stood and walked closer. "But what if it doesn't disappear? What if this was just the beginning?" Sella looked at him. "That's why I'm still here." Alex felt a knot tighten in his chest. He didn't want her to carry the weight alone. "There has to be something I can do," he said. "Stay alert. Trust your instincts. And stay close to me." "I already do," he whispered. That night, the silence between them was filled with a quiet understanding. Sella didn't sit at the door this time. She placed her mat next to Alex's bed again, closer than before. Neither of them mentioned it. Just before dawn, Alex woke to find her sitting beside him, half in shadow, her eyes watching the window. You okay? He asked, voice low. I received a message, she said, private, coded from who? Someone I trust. An old commander. Alex sat up. What did it say? There's a plan to end the peace talks, she said. Some leaders on both sides are working in secret. They believe war is better than peace. Alex felt cold. But why? Would they do that? Because war gives them power. Peace makes them answer to others. Am I part of that plan? Sela nodded. If something happens to you, the peace program will collapse. Humans will pull out. Trust will die. Alex sat in silence, trying to take it all in. So they want me gone? Yes, and I will not. Let that happen. The next day, Sela took him on a different route to the council hall. She avoided the main roads and walked through quiet paths behind buildings. Alex noticed how often she looked over her shoulder, how her hands stayed near her weapon. Inside the hall, the meetings went on as usual. Smiling faces, friendly handshakes, soft speeches. But Alex saw it differently now. He saw the cracks in their smiles, the fear behind their eyes. Sela stood behind him the whole time, like a silent wall of protection. After the meeting, as they walked back, Alex said, These people are pretending. All of them. Some still believe in peace, Sela replied. But they're scared. So what do? We stay one step ahead. We find the ones working in the dark. You mean we go hunting? Half-dash joking. But Sela didn't smile. Yes. That evening, Sela connected her wrist device to Alex's tablet. She showed him coded transmissions, data logs, names, places. He couldn't understand it all, but he knew enough to see it was serious. How did you get all this? He asked. I've been collecting for weeks, she said, waiting for the right time. Alex stared at the screen. So why now? She looked at him. Because now you see it too. Ow. They spent hours studying the information. Alex found patterns in the message's secret meetings happening near the city's edge. Shifts in guard schedules, supply orders that didn't make sense. This is more than just one or two people, he said. This is a network. Yes, Sela agreed. And we need to break it. They planned carefully. Over the next few days, they acted normal during the day, but at night they moved. Sela led Alex through underground paths and empty alleys. They watched from rooftops, listened to secret meetings from afar, recorded proof. One night, they caught two figures exchanging information near the transport hub. Sela crept close while Alex used a small drone to record everything. One of the figures was a member of the Peace Council. Alex couldn't believe it. They're betraying the mission. He whispered, They always were, Sela said. The next day, Sela handed the recording to a contact she trusted, a member of her people's inner guard who still believed in peace. The woman promised to take it to the high court, but nothing happened. No arrests, no announcements, not even a whisper of change. They buried it, Alex said, frustrated. They're covering it up. Expected this, Sela replied. Now we do it our way. Alex didn't know what that meant exactly, but he trusted her. That night, Sela stood at the window, watching the moons again. We'll have to leave soon, she said. The ones in power will come for us. Where will we go? Somewhere safe? For now. Until we finish what we started. Alex walked over, stood beside her. You're not doing this just because it's your duty, are you? She looked at him, her eyes softer than he'd seen before. Not anymore. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. In that moment, standing side by side in the quiet dark, they both knew everything had changed. Sela moved quickly, packing what little they had into a single bag. She placed Alex's tablet inside, the one holding all their recordings and notes. Every movement she made was quiet and fast. Alex watched her with wide eyes. You really think they're coming for us? He asked. I don't think, Sela said. I know. Shouldn't we tell someone? Who? She turned to him. The ones who already chose silence. He didn't argue. He knew she was right. They left through a maintenance tunnel that ran under the council building. Sela had memorized every path, every blind corner, every hidden exit. The underground was damp and dark, but she moved through it like she had done this before. Alex followed closely, trying to stay quiet. He kept thinking about the people they had trusted, the smiles, the promises. All lies. When they finally reached the surface, they were outside the city walls, near a forest filled with glowing trees. Sela had chosen this place on purpose. Number 6. Cameras. No patrols. They built a small shelter using parts from Sela's portable field kit. It looked like a rock from the outside, but was warm and dry inside. Sela activated a shield around it to hide their presence. "How long do we stay here?" Lex asked. "Until I find out who gave the order," she said. "Once we have that name, we make it public. We force the truth into the light. And if they come before that, then we fight," she said, looking him in the eye. Alex sat down, breathing slowly. He wasn't a fighter. He was just a student, a volunteer. But now he felt something rising in him, something strong. Not fear, not anger. Purpose. Sela handed him a small energy blade. "You'll need this." He took it carefully. "I've never used one before. You'll learn fast." She started training him that night. Basic moves first. How to hold the blade. How to block. How to move his feet. Alex was clumsy, but Sela was patient. "You're not weak," she said after he stumbled. "You just think you are." Her words stayed with him. Days passed. Every night they trained. Every morning, Sela checked their sensors and scanned for messages. Alex helped where he could, studying files, updating logs, keeping watch when Sela needed rest. Their bond grew stronger in that small shelter. One evening, Sela surprised him with a cooked meal, strange alien roots mixed with something that tasted like garlic. Alex smiled. "You made this?" "Yes, it's actually good. You sound shocked." He laughed. "I guess I thought warriors only knew how to fight. I know many things, including how to feed the ones we care about." Alex paused. The words hit deeper than she might have meant. He looked at her carefully. "Do you care about me?" "About me, Sela?" Didn't answer right away. Her yellow eyes met his, calm but unreadable. "Yes," she finally said. "I do." He felt his heart beat faster. Not because of fear, but because of her honesty. He nodded. "I care about you too." They didn't need more words after that. The next morning, Sela received a coded message on her wrist device. She tapped through the layers of encryption, her face tight with focus. "What is it?" Alex asked. "The name we were waiting for." G. Showed him the message. It was short, just a location and a time. But the symbol attached to it belonged to someone high in the chain of command. A man who publicly supported the peace program, secretly tried to destroy it. "We expose him," Sela said. "How?" Alex asked. "We just show the message. We do more. We confront him. Make him admit the truth. Record everything." Alex felt nervous. "And if he doesn't confess, then we make sure he never tries again." They planned carefully. The meeting was happening at a fuel station near the edge of the city. Not official. Not protected. Sela wore her armor again for the first time in days. She looked like a storm. "Ready to strike?" "Stay behind me," she said, double quotes always. They reached the station just before sunset. The sky was red and gold, the air still. Sela moved like a shadow between the pillars, eyes sharp. Alex followed, holding the tablet ready. To record, the target arrived right on time. A tall, alien male in a silver cloak, walking with confidence. 2 guards followed behind him. Sela stepped into the open. "Counselor Vron," she said. He stopped. Surprise flashed across his face. "Commander Sela, I didn't expect you here." "Should've," she said. "I know everything." Vran smiled calmly. "And yet here you are, with a human child and no backup." Alex stepped forward. "I'm not a child. I'm the reason you're hiding in secret." Vron's eyes narrowed. "You should have left when you had the chance." "We don't run." "From the truth," Sela said, raising her weapon. Alex began recording. "Why did you try to stop the peace mission?" he asked. "Say it." Vran laughed. "Because peace is a lie. Makes us weak. War gives us strength, purpose, unity." "You tried to get me killed," Alex said. Yes, Vran replied coldly. Because humans don't belong here. That was enough. Sela moved fast. The guards drew their weapons, but she was quicker. She knocked one out, dodged the second, disarmed the other in seconds. Vran tried to flee, but Alex blocked his path. It's over, he said. The whole galaxy will know what you did. Vran snarled. You don't have the power. Alex held up the tablet, but I have the truth. Sela dragged Vran back and tied his hands, and she turned to Alex. You were brave, he smiled. I learned from the best. Sela tied Vran's hands with a special energy band. It locked his wrists together, glowing faintly. He tried to struggle, but there was no escape. Alex kept the tablet close, making sure the recording was saved, and backed up twice. What now? Alex asked. We take him to the Truth Council, Sela replied. They won't be able to hide it anymore? You trust them? Not all of them, she said, but enough. The walk back to the city was quiet. Vran didn't speak, but his eyes burned with anger. He kept glancing at Alex, but Sela always stepped in between, her hand never far from her weapon. When they reached the outer gates, the guards were confused. One tried to stop them, but Sela showed her badge and spoke in firm tones. The guard looked at Vran, shocked, and stepped aside. Inside the city, news of their return spread fast. By the time they reached the council building, a crowd had gathered. Most were silent. A few whispered. Some stared in disbelief. A peacekeeper approached. What is this? A traitor, Sela answered. And we have proof. They were led into the great hall. The council members sat in a circle, faces tight and unreadable. Alex felt nervous but stood tall beside Sela. Commander Sela, one counselor said. You return without notice with violence and accusations. Explain yourself. Sela stepped forward. Vran ordered attacks against the human delegate. He worked with those who want war. We caught him during a secret meeting. The human has the full recording. Alex handed over the tablet. One of the council techs connected it to the main screen. The hall went quiet as the video played. Every word Vran said echoed in the room. His cold confession, his plan to end the peace mission, his hatred toward humans. When it ended, no one spoke for several seconds. Then a high-ranking counselor stood. Vran, do you deny this? Vran didn't answer. His silence was louder than a scream. The council whispered among themselves. Finally, one spoke. Remove him from the chamber. You'll be judged by the high court. Guards took Vran away. The doors closed behind him. Another counselor turned to Sela and Alex. You may have saved the peace mission. Thank you, Sela nodded. I did what was right. Alex stayed silent. Something didn't feel finished. That evening, back in their room. Sela removed her armor and sat on the floor, finally breathing deeply. Alex sat across from her. You don't look happy, he said. We stopped one enemy, she replied. But not all of them. You think others will still try something? Yes. Vran wasn't working alone. Alex sighed. So this isn't over. Not yet. A long pause passed between them. Then Sela said, You were brave today. Smiled slightly. You've been saying that a lot lately, because it's true. He looked at her, trying to find the right words. I'm not the same person who arrived here. I know, she said softly. I used to be scared, weak, unsure. We're never weak, Sela said. He looked into her eyes. I think you changed me. You changed me too. They sat in silence for a while, not tense, not awkward, just peaceful. Do you ever miss your home? Alex asked. Sometimes, she said, but lately, this feels like home. Alex felt a warm weight in his chest. Because of me? Didn't answer with words. Instead, she moved closer and rested her hand gently on his. No more armor between them. No more barriers. You don't have to protect me all the time, he said. Yes, I do. Ain't. But you're more than just my protector now. I know. He smiled. So, what are we now? She tilted her head, still deciding. They both laughed quietly. A knock came at the door. Sela stood quickly and opened it. Messenger handed her a small data chip. Urgent message, the alien said, and left. Sela plugged the chip into her wrist device. Her eyes scanned the message. Her face grew serious. "What is it?" Alex asked. "The High Court wants us to testify tomorrow," she said. "They want the full story start to finish." "We can do that," Alex said. "We'll tell them everything. It's dangerous. If the court turns, we'll be trapped. Then we don't go alone." Sela nodded. "I'll contact the Earth delegation. We go together." The next morning, dressed in formal clothes, Alex walked beside Sela into the High Court chamber. Human and alien leaders sat together. Reporters hovered in the air, recording everything. Sela spoke first, detailing every event starting from the moment she was assigned to Alex. Every attack, every clue, every message. Then Alex spoke, sharing his part, the confusion, the fear, the moment he chose to fight. They showed the video again. This time, the room didn't fall silent. It erupted in noise. Some council members argued, others clapped. Few demanded stronger protections for guests. But one thing was clear: the truth had spread. No one could hide it now, after the hearing. Alex and Sela were approached by diplomats from other planets. Some thanked them, others offered support. Even the human ambassador hugged Alex. "You made Earth proud," she said. Alex glanced at Sela. "We did it together." That night, back in their room, they both finally felt something they hadn't in weeks: relief. Alex sat on the edge of the bed. Sela removed her wrist device and placed it on the table. "You're staying again?" he asked. Double quotes. "Yes, still not safe," she said with a small smile. He laughed. "You just like sleeping near me?" She didn't deny it. He leaned back. "Sela, yes. You don't have to stand guard anymore. You can stay." She walked over and sat beside him. "I will," she said softly. "But not just to protect you." They looked at each other. For the first time, they both knew this wasn't just about duty anymore. The city returned to normal slowly. Guards were posted around the Peace Council. Patrols became tighter. And news about the traitors spread across every planet involved in the program. Many feared the treaty would fall apart. But instead, something strange happened. People started talking honestly. Alien leaders and human delegates began asking real questions. Old problems were brought up instead of ignored. Not everyone liked it, but it was real. And for the first time, Alex felt like the mission was finally working. Sela stayed close to him through it all, not as just a guard anymore, but as something more. They never said the exact word, but both knew it. One evening, Alex was called to speak at the Unity Gathering, a public event to honor those who helped keep the peace. The large hall was filled with humans and aliens alike. Bright lights lit the stage where he stood with Sela beside him. He held a simple note card in his hand. But when he looked at the crowd, he folded it and put it in his pocket. "I didn't come here to be a hero," Alex said, his voice steady. "Came here to learn, to make peace." God. But someone tried to take that away, not with weapons, but with fear. The crowd listened in silence. They failed because someone stood between me and danger. Someone who didn't have to care but did. Someone who taught me what strength really looks like. I glanced at Sela. It doesn't matter if we're human or alien. What matters is choice. And she chose to protect me, not because she was ordered to, but because she wanted to. Many stood and clapped. Sela stayed still, but her eyes softened. After the speech, they walked back slowly under the glow of the twin moons.
Ow.
People nodded to them. Some waved. They had become symbols of unity, whether they wanted it or not. "You spoke well," Sela said. "I meant every word." They stopped near the old garden where Alex first saw her practicing alone. Now it looked different, less distant, more familiar. "What will you do now?" he asked her. "Orders say I can return to my post," she replied. "No man has been restored. Do you want to go?" She looked at him. "I was a warrior for a long time now. I want something else." "What do you want?" We didn't answer at first. Then she said, "I want to stay on Earth with you." Alex smiled. "I was hoping you'd say that." A few weeks later, after things settled, Alex returned to Earth. This time, he wasn't alone. Sela traveled with him, her first time on a human world. She wore simpler clothes now, no armor, but she still walked like a protector. People stared when they arrived at the landing station. Tall, strong, different, but she stayed calm. "They're staring," she said. "Because they've never seen anyone like you," Alex replied. "Do I frighten them?" "Maybe at first, but then they'll understand." He took her to his home, a small apartment in the city. Nothing special. Soft couch, old books, a window with a view of the sunset. "It's small," he said, suddenly shy. "It's quiet." She replied, "I like it." They settled into a new routine. Alex went back to his studies. Sela trained at a nearby academy where she helped teach self-defense to humans. She became a local favorite partly because of her skill, partly because of the way she helped without judgment. Nights were their time. Quiet dinners, long walks. Simple peace. One evening, as rain tapped the window, Alex sat beside her on the couch. "Do you ever miss the fight?" he asked. "Sometimes," she said, "but peace is harder and more important. You still watch the door before bed. Habit, you still sleep on the floor." Where she raised an eyebrow. "How do?" "You want me to stop?" "No," he said. "I just want you to know. You don't have to be a protector anymore. Not here, not always." She looked at him for a long moment, then let me choose. She said. He nodded. "I choose to stay near you," she said, her voice soft. They didn't speak after that. They didn't need to. But the warmth between them said enough. Weeks passed. One night, a message arrived from the Galactic Peace Network. They asked Alex and Sela to speak again, this time to new trainees entering the program. Alex read the message aloud. "They want us to talk about what peace really means." But smiled. "We can do that." He looked at her. "Together?" "Always." As they packed their things and prepared for the trip, Alex remembered the first day he met her, the cold stare, the silent steps. The way she stood outside his room, so much had changed. That night before sleep, he looked at her and said, "You still say it's for security, but I know better." Sela gave a small laugh, the rare, quiet kind only he ever heard. "Yes," she whispered, "you know better."